Hi everyone and welcome to the session. My name is Caira and I'm founder and CEO of fitmama Fitness. Today's session is all around hill sprints and I wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of something new that you could add into your fitness regime each week that costs absolutely nothing, is amazing for getting you doing something different that is a little bit different to doing bootcamp style sessions. It works your full body and it is helping your cardio system a little bit more to push you to a boundary or to push you to a limit that you then will be able to suss out, okay, do I want to go beyond that limit or am I comfortable within it? Your respiratory system, that's your lungs, are also getting a really good workout with this as well. So what are hill sprints? Hill sprints, for me, are really simple way of training. You find an area, it could be a park, it could be a street, that has a gradient hill that's quite high gradient. So let's dig it down to about that. And that gradient hill, you've got a slow and steady climb, and you can see that it's going to last a good, maybe a kilometre. So it's something that doesn't, as you go up, then go and peter out into a balance or into a level ground and then go back up. You really want to find something that is absolute gradient so that you can give this a really good effort. I would not regard this as high intensity interval training, but it is high intensity training, and it's high intensity because your cardiovascular system and your respiratory system are both going to be pushed to their max, okay? So when you start and you make your way up from zero and you're starting to make your way up this hill in a jog or a run or a sprint, that is when you're going to feel exactly how powerful your body are, your lungs, your heart, in getting you from point A to point B, wherever that may be. So where I am at the moment, my accommodation where I live, I have got this really nice, steady hill not far from me. It's about a 5-minute walk maximum. So I can use that 5 minutes to leave my apartment and walk to this place, warming up as I go. Once I get there, I can see, okay, this is going to be a 1 kilometre run uphill and it's going to take me X amount of time, and then once I reach a certain point, a measurement, I'm going to turn and I'm going to come right back down again, rest at the bottom, check the time, and then repeat and do this. I have set myself a target of 3 times that I'm going to run this distance. The first one is usually a really good warm up for me. It's getting me ready, it's getting my muscles working and warmed up, but it's also for me to start taking a look and seeing what are my points of validation, points of notice. And that could be anything from lampposts, parked cars, offices that you pass. It could be pedestrian crossings. It could be anything that you can then see as a measurement, okay? Now, the one I have really handily from where I start my run and go up, the first one that it really matters to me is 60 seconds in and it's a pedestrian crossing. So I know if I am not hitting that crossing by 60 seconds that I am behind or I'm going and pushing and I'm a little bit ahead. If I'm behind, that's not so good because then I'm thinking, why have I not got the same power as I had the last time? And if I'm actually ahead, it means, okay, I'm feeling okay with this. I'm feeling quite fit. Did I start off too soon? Did I start off too quick? No, I didn't. I'm feeling good. Okay, so all of these points of reference as you're doing your run are actually quite important for you to take a head check where you are. When you're doing hill sprints, these are not usually normal fitness sessions. These are training sessions. They are absolutely amazing for figuring out, is my training all week actually making a difference to pure cardio, pure high intensity jogging? There's nothing else involved. There's no push-ups, there's no burpees, there's no mountain climbers. It is your body getting up that hill as quickly as it can, but paced. So how I do this is I warm up on my walk up, then once I arrive at my point, I use a very, very simple and basic stopwatch. There is nothing else on here. There's no heart rate monitor. I'm not monitoring my heart rate using any fit tech wearables. I'm purely using a stopwatch to time where I am because that's my measurement, okay? When I start slow and steady, and because I go straight into a gradient, I don't start off on a flat, I start off on a gradient. The way that I do it is I pace myself, I don't go too hard and fast to begin with because I know my legs will not have the power and the energy for the second round and definitely not for the third. So I know that I'm out here for 3 tries at this. So I'm going to pace it nicely and well. I'm not trying to beat a clock at this stage. I'm purely trying to get into the run. I know that I really want to get at least 60 seconds before I drop it down to a walk for recovery. So in my first 60 seconds, I am going to take it easier. I'm going to start pounding up nice and slowly in very, very methodical steps. Get myself into a rhythm and push myself through to that first pedestrian crossing that I see, check my watch, I should be around 60 seconds, and then I'm in. The way that I run, the style of running that I have, especially on a gradient, is it's not quite a walking lunge by any stretch of the imagination, but it's the idea that you are progressing and pushing yourself upwards, okay? And I tend to run on my the balls of my feet. I don't put heel first and then slowly then curve my foot. I go in at balls of my feet first, and I kind of tiptoe and crawl my way up these hills. That's my style of running. You might do something completely different. I keep my arms in a really methodical back and forward movement, just like you would see as you're running. Occasionally, I'll put my arms on my hips, purely to give them a bit of rest, because what you'll find once you start running up is that the shoulders start creeping up towards the ears and that you're running in a stressed position. You have to learn to let that all go, okay? Very critical when you're doing hill sprints up is to make sure that your abdominals are being pulled in so that you're bringing them in to support your lower back. So bear in mind, beneath your rib cage and before you get to your hips, your hip bone, you have this space in the middle where it's muscle, your torso, your transverse abdominis is there. That's the corset effect. So that runs from the back and cuddles in your stomach. Now you want to make sure that you're keeping that nice and tight and pulling that in so that you can support your lower back, okay? So as I start, when I get to around about a minute, I have found that I am bust. I am busted. You know, my heart is up way, 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 way high. My lungs are struggling to breathe. They feel like they're on fire. And my legs are saying, okay, I need to stop. Now, if I'm around about a minute, 60 seconds, and I know I can see my pedestrian crossing, these are my measurements on this particular road, I take that down to a walk. And I make sure that in that walk, I get to a point of my breath being a little bit more controlled. My heart rate is still going to be up high because I'm still pounding and walking up a gradient. So it's not like all of a sudden I stop. I keep walking up and progressing forward. I give myself no more than 40 seconds before I trigger myself to say, you need to start running again. Now, that will be different for different people. So you might want to do 1 minute of running, if you can do that, and 1 minute of a break. 1 minute of running, 1 minute of a break. Or you could bring that down again and do 45 seconds, 15 seconds, 45, 15. Or you could bring it down to 30 seconds run, 30 seconds walk, 30 seconds run, 30 seconds walk. You will figure it out when you start. Once you then start that second part of the run, you're getting more into it at this point and your breathing starts to take some sort of control. It understands what you're trying to do now. Your body has clicked on. We get that you're trying to do interval training. So we're going to help you with this. And so your body then all of a sudden starts to work for you. As soon as you get to your top point, so the top of your hill, wherever that may be. Now, it might not be the actual summit of a hill, but it could be a point where you think, this is roughly 1 kilometre, I don't want to go any further than this, or this is enough for me for today. Make a measurement. What is it? Is it next to a certain parked car, a lamppost, a bus stop, a pedestrian crossing? Make a mental note. Do not stop at the top. When you get to the top, tap whatever it is that's up there, a wall, a lamppost, whatever it is. Just do a physical tap, turn around and immediately start your descent. The reason for that is if you stop at the top to gather your breath, you're missing the point. Your training involves going up and it involves coming back down. When you start to come back down, gravity is going to be your best friend and it's going to be like, yeah, you can run now, just run. Be careful, because when you start to run like that, you're running like a 5-year-old because you have a downhill, you have gravity helping you out, and it's easy. So you're starting to like really pick up and you lose your running technique. Your legs are all over the place, you're banging your legs onto the ground, so your feet are banging down, ricocheting against your knee, right up towards your hip, and also your hip bone maybe a little bit more facing forward and curving your spine, just to try and stop you from actually falling forward, okay? So when you're at the top and you turn and you're descending, please, please, please take control. Do a controlled run down. So that one might be the same pace as your run up, believe it or not. Pace yourself coming down. Go nice and slowly. Make sure every single step is deliberate. Make sure you're not putting your tailbone under, but putting your back in a neutral position. Pulling the abdominals in nice and tight. Keep those shoulders relaxed. Get your breathing in check. Get your heart rate in check. And then start your descent, okay? When you reach the bottom to where you've originally started your run, stop your stopwatch. Don't look at it, just stop it, make sure it's stopped. Get your breath back, and this is where you're taking yourself back down to almost neutral. You want to be in a position where you can breathe comfortably, you can speak to anybody that's passing by, your heart rate's down, your lungs don't feel like they're on fire, and if you have a little bottle of water there, take one mouthful of the water just to give you some sort of fluid in. No big gulps, because you still have a run to do and you don't want to run with water in your stomach jiggling about, okay? So just take one mouthful, swallow it, and then get ready. Once you're back to almost neutral, look at your watch and have a look. How long did it take you to go up and down? So for me, this particular run takes 8 minutes and 25 seconds. So I looked at it, reset my watch, and then decided, okay, let's do it again. Bang, start your stopwatch and then start. Again, you're pacing yourself. You're taking your time as you're as you're running up. When I say run, it's going to be a slow jog, slow and steady, and you are going for it, okay? Your second run, your second set, should be your quickest, because your first is almost a fact find. How long did it take me? How did I feel? How is everything going? Your second one is the one where you're like, okay, I've got this. I'm fully warmed up. I'm on it. I've already done 8 minutes. I feel good. Everything's feeling good here, and I'm going to go for it. So your second run probably will be your best out of the 3. Okay, so really go for it and push. Again, use your measurements. I need to be at that pedestrian crossing on or before 60 seconds. I need to be at the bus stop on or before 2 minutes. I need to be at blah, blah, blah. When you get to the top, again, turn around quickly, immediately. Don't stop at the top. Get your pointer, tap your pointer, turn around, and then start your descent as quickly as you can, safely, controlled, okay? Again, at the bottom, stop your watch, have a look at the time, and see where you measured up. Were you quicker than your first run, or were you a little bit slower? You should be quicker, okay? And then again, you do the same thing. Get a mouthful of water, usually swirl it around, swallow that down, and get ready for your third run. Once you've done 3, that should be enough of a workout for that day. Your third run may or may not be as good as your second, but it could also be almost a cool down towards the end as you're coming down the last little bit. Take a quick look at your watch. Are you on par or are you not? And then get back down to your starting point. Benefits of sprint runs are really to try and see how much training you've been doing. So if you've been doing, for example, the Fit Mama Club 10-minute workouts every day, that's all good and well, but how are you measuring if you're improving or if you're increasing? So for me, I know that my ability to do a minute of burpees is there, but can I do a minute of running? And if the answer to that is no, then I should try and shake up or just inject a little bit something different into my training each week. Running on gradients is not the same as running on flat. It's not the same as running on sand. It's not the same as doing steps. It's completely different to all of these. And running on a gradient for a mum who may or may not have a weak pelvic floor is actually okay. Now, the reason I say actually okay is because you're not bouncing up and down on hard concrete. You are taking slow and steady climbing steps as you are going. So the pressure on your bladder, the pressure on your pelvic floor, the pressure on everything that you may normally feel in running is just not there. the pounding on your bones is not as severe as you would be doing running on a straight. Nowhere near it. It's a very, very gentle way to test your body. For those that actually despise running, this is a good technique to get into as well. It's not to say that everybody has to be a runner, but this is actually a good way for you to learn a way of you doing a run. You can be out for half an hour, but you're not actually traveling any distance. You're going up one hill, coming back down, back up the same hill and back down again. You're not out for a run where 5 kilometers outside, you've reached a 0.5k out, and then you think, how am I going to get back again? I'm too tired. By doing sprint runs up and down the same area, it's really good for you. You can get to the end of the second one and think, I've run out of time, or I've run out of motivation, or I've just run out of energy. I have no more power in me. So it's a really good way for you also to try and do some running. The heart and lungs get an absolute pounding with this, and it's very, very important that you listen to your body. So make sure you have fuel in your body before you go. Don't go, with nothing in you to give to this type of technique and this type of workout, because you'll find yourself really feeling lightheaded, dizzy, and your heart rate will be up too high for you to be able to cope with. So please be very, very attentive to how your body should feel. And if things are feeling a little bit out of control and your heart is absolutely out of control and you just think, wait a second, this does not feel good, stop immediately with the gradient, but keep your body moving until you can bring your heart rate down naturally, rather than just stop suddenly and sit on a wall. Now, if you feel dizzy or you feel sick, then that's different. You will have to stop and give that up. So keeping hydrated before you do hill sprints is a very, very good idea. So maybe the hour before you know you're going out to do this hill sprint, take in your fluids, make sure you obviously go to the toilet beforehand, and then go out and then do your hill sprints, okay? You're trying to do this on an empty bladder so that you're not actually being affected, but at the same time you need to have hydration in your body. I find hill sprints to be a real good session when I need to clear my head, get some fresh air, get a little bit of the natural elements, whether it's pouring with rain or it's bright sunshine or it's windy, whatever it is. These things are really important for me, and I find that doing workouts indoors all the time really start to get a little bit stale for me and just a little bit boring. So I quite like to do hill runs like this and hill sprints just to clear the cobwebs away. The other thing I'd say is I've actually got a bit of a knee injury, and so when I do anything more than say 6 or 7k running on a normal run, I actually find that really, really tough on my body, and I end up, really hurting my knee. It's an injury I've had from years ago, and it triggers when I'm doing that style of training. Whereas hill sprints don't, they just do not affect my knee at all, and they find it really good for my body. I would say that you would give it no more than 3 runs each time you're doing it, and I would make sure the distance that you're running is in line with where your current fitness level is. So for an example, if you live somewhere and the only gradient hill is, a fairly tough hill to climb up, then I would make sure you're doing it 3 times, but maybe you're not doing a kilometre there and back. Maybe you are doing a far shorter distance so that you can start to build up confidence. When you're building up your fitness levels and your body's ability to cope with high intensity workouts, you have to do a couple of things. One is trigger the motivation, one is embed the habit, and the other one is actually to do something that is suitable for you, that doesn't sicken you or make you injured or ill. So, do be a little bit careful with how far you're going to go with these hill sprints, but give it your all. Stairs, I would not recommend if you're a beginner. I see quite a lot of places where you would have maybe 60 or 70 stairs leading to somewhere, and that would appear to be a really good training method. The only problem I have with that is that when you're banging on stairs coming up and banging on stairs coming down, it can be quite tough on the body, quite tough on the bones, especially postpartum. But also the risk of tripping up is real. And when you are a mum and you're juggling perhaps lack of sleep or broken sleep, you are maybe back to work, so you've not got a lot of power left in your body, you're quite stressed, you've had a busy day, you've got a lot going on. I don't think that you need to add another element of risk to this activity by adding in steps, which you can trip up going up or trip up coming down. I would be like, okay, well, just choose a pavement, because, you know, taking a sidewalk or a pavement and just, you know, going up and back down, to me, just makes perfect sense. And the same would be if you're in a park. If you can find a park where you can see a gradient up, then do it. And that's my top tip for today. To basically inject sprint hill runs into your weekly training, just to liven it up a little bit and to shake it up a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch, add some comments below, and if you like this video, you can like and share, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.